another edition of the Sewing Guru. Now in the previous video we basically constructed our jeans and we attached the front and back panels together, okay? And you will have now fitted them on, you will have adjusted them to yourself or whoever you're making your jeans for, and you'll know that they are going to fit. So in this video we are now ready to create our waistband and our belt loops. Okay, so I'm just going to go over how the waistband and the belt loops sit on your finished jeans, how they should sit anyway. So first of all, this here is your waistband and sits at the top, and it's in one continuous long piece. And of course we've got our belt loops which sit widthways across the waistband, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 belt loops for these jeans. Okay, so the first thing, I'll just put these jeans out of the way for now. The first thing what we're going to do is produce our waistband, and then we'll go on to the belt loops. So of course you're going to need your pattern for this. Now the pattern already has the width, so you don't have to worry about that, that's perfect, because with the waistband it's folded over like so, and that's how it sits on the top of the jeans, like so, okay? So all we need to do is we need to establish our length. So that involves a bit of measuring on our finished jeans just about here, the jeans we're working on. So what you need to do is open up the front closure and just turn these around. So we've got here the front closure opened up, and what you need to do is measure right across the top. Now remember your seam allowances, so just have this bit of overhang, okay? Now I've got 2 centimetres overhang there for our seam allowance, because you're going to need that when you actually close up your waistband, so don't forget your seam allowances. So basically just start off by going around the entire top of your jeans, but hold your tape measure in place, don't lose the point, because if you lose the point you're going to have to start again. Okay, so just keep the point here and just keep the tape measure on the top. So we've now reached the other side, and again we've got a bit of seam allowance here, so I read 1 metre 6 for this. So now that we have our length, we can then cut our waistband pattern to the length we need. Okay, so we're working with the entire length here, so 1 metre 6, I'm just going to double this over. Okay, so in actual fact instead of 1 metre 6 we just need to measure 53. Okay, so lay out your waistband. Actually I'll just take this piece of fabric out the way. Make sure you got it doubled over, like so. And we're going to be measuring this at 53, which comes to this point here. So just get a pin at 53, like so. And what you can do is just cut that now off. So just measure what we need to cut that off by. So we've got 3 centimetres to cut off. Okay, but of course this is doubled. So I'm just going to open up this and we're going to cut off 6 centimetres. Okay, so just cut this off like so. And of course this waistband now should measure 1 metre 6. So let's just test this out. So going from here all the way along, all the way along, and well actually I've got mine at 1 metre 7. Doesn't really matter, it's going to be in one continuous long piece, and you know you've definitely got your seam allowances, okay? So what you need to do is you need to just position this on your fabric, okay? So again, double this over. Just double this over, like so. Just make sure that this is all right, okay? Double your waistband over like so, and then you can cut this on the fold, you see. So there's our fabric, and just place your pattern on the fabric like so. Okay, and you can just put some pins in there. Okay, and just continuously pin this until you've got it in place. Just keep pinning this around. Another pin here. And one here. Okay, so now that we've got our waistband positioned on the fabric, what you need to do next is just cut around your waistband, and that's your waistband cut out, ready to put onto the jeans. Okay, so now that you've cut out your waistband, as I have here, and it's one continuous long piece, we're now ready to go over to our belt loops. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this over and put this away for now. So what I've got here is my commercially bought jeans again, and we're going to take off the belt loops from this, because not all patterns come with a little pattern for belt loops, okay? And they are absolutely so easy to make and produce. It's just very, very easy to do, okay? So first of all, what we need to do is establish the width of this belt loop. Okay, so if I measure this, it measures 1.5 centimetres, but because of course a belt loop is folded in on itself, we need to double that. So we need to have our belt loop at 3 centimetres in width, okay? So that's our width established. We now need to get the length. Now, first of all, the belt loop, it's folded in and folded in here, goes across here and then underneath the waistband. So first of all, you need your width, as you can put the tape measure on there, and of course we need a width to be able to fold that back. So that's our seam allowance, which is 1.5. We've got the length of the belt loop, okay, so 1.5, and then we've got our length of the belt loop, which measures 8 centimetres. And then of course it goes back in on itself and back into the waistband, which I measure as 11 centimetres. So that belt loop there is actually a length of 11 centimetres because it's folded back on itself and everything else. So now that we've established our length and width, 11 centimetres by 3, we're now ready to cut out an oblong strip of our denim fabric. Now, because there's 5 belt loops here on the jeans, I'm going to make 5 belt loops myself. I mean, it's up to you how many you do. I mean, you can do 5, 6, 7, it's up to you. But I'm going to produce 5 belt loops for my jeans. So, of course, 11 centimetres times 5 is 55 centimetres. And I'm just going to add on just that little bit more as well for when we start sewing and top stitching the belt loop. So I'm just going to make mine a length of 60 centimetres instead of 55. So because our fabric is doubled over, we just need to cut a strip of 30 centimetres. And because it's just an oblong strip, it's really easy to do with this. So measure that back at 30. Make sure that all this is just straight. That there is 30 centimetres. And then we're just going to measure 3 centimetres as a width. Okay, so just going to straighten that off there, and then here as well. So that measures 3 centimetres in width. So we're just going to cut that. And then I've got a technique here where you cut a bit, fold it, because we've got a guide here. Cut that part, fold it again, and we've got another guide here, and eventually you'll be able to just get more and more and more, and you don't need tape measures or anything for this, because it's such an easy way of cutting out square or oblong pieces of fabric. Okay, only works with oblong pieces, of course. Okay, so there's our belt loops in one continuous line, ready to be overlocked. Now, there is 2 ways you can do this, okay? So I'm going to take this over to the ironing board and show you the 2 different ways that you can do your belt loops. Okay, so with belt loops, you can either cover stitch them, or you can overlock the sides, fold them over, and then stitch them down. Okay, there's 2 different techniques that you can do with that. Now, a cover stitch is a function that you will have on your overlocker. Now, if you do have that function, what you need to do is you need to turn your belt loop over so you can see the wrong side, and fold this in like so, so that it's folded into the middle. Okay, and just press that, just give that a press. Like so, yeah, and what you need to do is just fold that in all the way along, and then this one this way all the way along, so it's totally flat, and then you can cover stitch your belt loop. And of course what happens is you get an overlocking on one side and a double row of top stitching in the other, and the machine does that in one operation. Okay, now if you don't have a cover stitch facility on your overlocker, what you need to do is do it in this technique. So all we're doing is overlocking this side and overlocking this side. Then we'll fold it in, then we'll do our top stitching, and the result is exactly the same as if you cover stitched it. So overlock right along the full length of the belt loop on this side and also on this side as well. Okay, and I'm going to go and do that right now. Right, so I've overlocked across both sides. Okay, just give this a bit of a press. Okay, and what we need to do now is fold this. Okay, so you've got the wrong side facing you, that's your right side, wrong side of your belt loop, and just fold this so that these will meet in the middle. Okay, just fold that so that the overlocking parts meet in the middle. Okay, now this just takes a bit of pressing and a bit of manipulation, but you will get there. So just press that. Now that you've got your width, you can basically just press one side, because you've got that as a gauge, you see, of your width. Right along, all the way to the end, and then you can just basically fold in the other side so that it's really nice and neat, so it's just meeting in the middle. Right along. Take your time with this, okay, because you really want them to look nice, your belt loops. So just keep folding this in all the way along. Right along. All the way until you reach the end. Okay, so now that you've done that, what we need to do now is we need to basically top stitch with a double row of stitching. So we're going to go down one end and come back up the other. So basically about a ½ centimetre in, so you're just holding this side down, and then of course when you're coming up the other side you're going to be holding this side down. Okay, so I'm going to go and take this over to the sewing machine now and top stitch my belt loop. So here we are at the sewing machine, and we just need to position our belt loop under the foot. Now I'm using a walking foot again for this because it really nice, keeps the tensions nice, and it top stitches really nice, and we're going a ½ centimetre in from the side. Okay, now just back tack a few times, just basically stitch right along the whole belt loop as one continuous line, making sure of course that all of these parts underneath are really nice and flat. Okay, so as you can see it's catching this in nicely. Now as you can see the top stitching is the same as the top stitching used throughout the whole jeans project. Okay, so I'm still using the green. Now I'll come to the end and I can just basically just go to the side and come back along the other side. And this is really now nicely forming into a belt loop, as you can see. Very nice. Okay, so just continuously go along until you reach the other side. And then back tack. There we go. Just cut our threads. Okay, and now that we've done that, we can take this back over to the ironing board and give this a nice press. So we've now produced our belt loop, and as you can see we've got a really nice double row of top stitching on the top side, and we've got it obviously on the underside, but this is nicely now all basically pressed in with our overlocked seams right in the middle. Okay, so when you're happy with that, just press this down, and we're now ready to cut our belt loops to length. Okay, now I'm going to have 5 of them, and they are 11 centimeters in width. Okay, so I'm just going to start off by just cutting that off there, and we just need to measure this back. Just position this tape measure properly. There we go. We need to measure this now 11 centimeters in width. Okay, so there's our 11 centimeters, and we just need to just cut that at 11 centimeters. Now this here, we can use this as a guide, so I'm just going to cut out my other 5 or the 4 to produce my 5 belt loops. So keep using the top one as a guide so that they end up all exactly the same. So that's 3, 2 more, 4, and 1 more here. And we've got a little bit extra, but that's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. 1 more here. 5. So there's my 5 belt loops. Okay, so basically we've got now our waistband, as you can see, and we've got our belt loops, and we're now ready to go on to the next video where we're going to be attaching this waistband and the belt loops to the top of our jeans.